welcome to Murphy's Garden. In this video I thought it would be good to do a video on how to take rose cuttings, because obviously if you can do that then you can multiply your stock and have a lot more roses in the garden, which is always a good thing. So I'm standing here by this rose. This is a David Austin rose. It's called Olivia Rose. It flowers really well. I've taken lots of cuttings from it in the past and I've had great success with it, so I just wanted to share with you what I do. So I'm just going to show you some of the plants that I took the cuttings from in the past. So this one is in the border, and I'd say this is probably maybe about 3 years old. So it's doing really well. It's got just looks identical to the parent plant. So I'll go and show you some of the other ones, and then we'll take the cuttings because I think the rain's going to come on shortly. And this is another rose that I've got in a pot, and that's was taken from cuttings from the original Olivia Rose. Now the Olivia Rose, when I received it, was like this. It was a David Austin rose in a pot like that. So it's very quickly got big, and then we've taken cuttings from it. So this is one I got for my birthday, which is Gertrude Jekyll. So this is a climber, and perhaps in a year we'll probably take some cuttings from that. So I'm going to just go to the original plant and show you what to take from the plant, and then we'll go to the greenhouse before the heavens open because it's just starting to spot with rain. Right, Murphy, come on, let's go. So I'm back at the original plant. You do need a plant that's got a bit of maturity to it, certainly a couple of years old. So what you're looking for, you don't want any kind of spindly growth like that, very new growth. You want something like this kind of just cut it and then you can see. This is like a pencil, about the diameter of a pencil, something like that. So that will be one. Well, not one. We'll get a few cuttings from that, and then I'll do a few more. Ow! 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 A bit prickly. Oh, I've got stuck. Another one. Here's one. So yeah, you don't want woody growth. You don't want anything that's very old. That's nice. So that's what we need. So let's go to the greenhouse. Okay, so here I am at the greenhouse, and we've got the three cuttings that we've taken. So I'll show you what to do with each, and they're each quite different. And that one's got some blooms at the top. So you just put those over here. I'll just show you, this is some cuttings that I did, I think probably about 2 weeks ago. And you can see, I think I took about, I don't know, 9 or 10 cuttings, and out of all of them, I've probably got 1, 2 that have been successful. And the reason for that is that it's been very wet. I did put this outside and it's very saturated. The soil is very, very wet. So that's why the success rate hasn't been that great on these ones. So I might rectify that this time by putting a little bit of, this is vermiculite, just to give it a little bit of extra drainage. So the first thing to do, take the cutting. Now you've got to make decisions on different things. If you understand that the roots are going to come out of this where the leaf node is, so the roots will come from there. You also need to keep some leaves on the rose cutting so that it can still perform photosynthesis. So I'm going to just take a snip just under this leaf node, and then I'm going to take the leaf off. So that's that. So that's the bottom end, and what you mustn't do is, once you've taken a lot of leaves off, you mustn't accidentally turn it upside down, because then you definitely won't get a cutting. I'm going to take this one off because that's just surplus to requirement. And this is the leaf that I'm going to use for the actual cutting. So I'm going to cut that there. Now I could just put it in like that, but there's so many leaves on here that what will happen is very quickly there'll be transpiration, and the cutting will lose moisture before it's managed to establish any roots. So for that reason, I'm going to leave probably just 2 leaves, and that's those 2. So I've just got that left. And now what I'm going to do, I'll just set that there for a second. So I've got some of this vermiculite, I've got some compost. I'm going to just do a little mixture of the two because, as I say, you don't have to do this if you haven't got vermiculite. Don't worry about it. I haven't done it in the past, but just because of what happened to the previous one. And you don't expect to have 100% success rate. You really don't. That's why you know, you need to do about 10 or so just to make sure that you get out of that. You might get 3 or 4, and if you think about that as a plant, 3 or 4 plants worth, which is worth probably about 25 quid, that's really, really good. So if you can get that, then you'd be happy with that. So I'll just put a little bit of that in there. I'm going to press it down, and then with my little dibber, you tend to put, if you put it in there, then what happens is that's where the moisture tends to be the highest in the pot, so it would tend to rot. So that if you can put it at the edge, then that would be, it would increase its chances a bit better. And before I do anything else, I'm going to dip it in, this is hormone rooting powder. So what I tend to do is, you don't really meant to do this, but I always do it, just dip it in water, and then I dip it in the hormone rooting powder and give it a generous whack around, and you want it to go over that where that leaf met the stem, so that's what I've done there. And then you're going to just make a hole and then stick it in, and stick it in quite deep, and then cover it over. So that's one. So that's very easy to do, and then obviously you need to water it. So I'm just going to do a few more. Now this one, because I haven't got another leaf node, I can't get another one from that, which is a bit of a shame. So this is a good one. This has got lots of options here. So we've got leaf node there. So again, I'm going to cut just under the leaf node. Take that off. I mean, I could do it there, but I kind of like to have a bit more stem. So I'm going to take that one off as well. And this is going to be the top of the thing. So they are perhaps a little bit too small, so perhaps I'll go there. Maybe even just take that one off. Take those off and keep the big ones as the... and then we'll dip that in the water. And again, big little bit of hormone rooting powder. And you don't, if you haven't got hormone rooting powder, you don't need it. It can work without it. It just increases your chances a little bit, but have a go. If you know you've got absolutely nothing to lose, so just have a go. I've done it before without rooting compound, and it's been fine. It's taken. So there, and you can put quite a few cuttings in there. I might just put 3. So this has been a very good cutting because I can get more from that. So again, if I stuck that in as it is, it wouldn't root because it's got nothing to. The roots come off this area. So we're going to cut that off, and you can see the little bud there. That's where you'll get the root. So we're going to take that one off. Yeah, I'll take that one off, and that's it. Sometimes you go to a rose and every single stem is a flowering stem, and you know they always say not to use a flowering stem. But if you haven't got anything else, then that's what you have to do. So here's an example. I've got one here that's flowering. So I'm going to do just the same thing. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to snip just under the leaf node, and then now what we don't want if you were to try and root from that while it's flowering, it will definitely die because the energy is going into flowering. So I'm going to take out that flowering, that can go into the house, you can enjoy that inside. And then here I'm just going to cut that off there. And then we've got another non-flowering stem. Now the sun's just come out. When you're doing cuttings, it is ideal to do it on a dull day because obviously the hotter it is, the quicker the plant will start to wilt. So if you can do it on a non-sunny day, then that's better. But if you work quickly and get the cuttings in, so I'm just going to press that down just to get contact with the soil. And then the only thing left to do is just to water. So we'll just water that and then leave it somewhere. We'll just leave it outside. It doesn't have to be inside. and these have stayed out all winter for me. I've done them before. Excuse me, I've done them before where I've just put them straight into the vegetable patch, put them into spare grind in the vegetable patch, and that's worked really well as well. They're not, you know, they can be outside. In fact, it's better to be outside, because if they're in here, it obviously gets very hot in here. It's July, so it's too hot. So just put them outside and leave them, and then forget about them, go and do other things, and then you'll remember about them in a few months' time, and hopefully you'll have had some success. So I just wanted to share this with you. I have been busy just doing a few more rose cuttings. So I've done, this is a rose called Compassion, and then I've got, these are the Olivia rose that we've just done. This is one called Creme de la Creme, and we've got one called Scarborough Fair, and then finally, which one's this? Oh, a Shropshire Lad, that's a climber. So this is the Olivia rose that I said I did a couple of weeks ago, and I was just pulling out the old ones that hadn't taken, the roses that hadn't got, that would look dead, and I accidentally disturbed this one, but I just wanted to share this with you, because you can see after only 2 weeks we've got lots and lots of little roots. Well, not lots, but maybe about 10 little roots. So that's quite amazing that that's already managed to put on so much growth. Don't disturb them. I didn't mean to. This one may not survive, but I will just pot it on. So I'm just going to, again, just do it on the side, and I'm going to give it its own individual little pot, but I'll leave the other two undisturbed, although as I said before, the soil is quite moist and a bit too damp. So there we are. We've got some lovely new roses, so I'm really pleased with that, and hopefully the others will take too. The other thing I wanted to add, and perhaps look at doing in future videos, is to go around some of the plants that we've got growing in the garden. Obviously, I know quite a lot of the daylilies and the campanula and all the common, and all the names that we all know plants by. But we want to get a bit more familiar with our plants and understand the Latin names and the Greek meanings of the plants, and understand a little bit more about them, where they grow, what they like, and you know, where the best place to plant them is. So we thought it would be quite fun. My daughter is just starting her horticultural career, starting her training, and she obviously has to get her head around all these Latin names. So we thought it would be quite fun to do a little challenge. So I challenge her to 2 plants every week, and she does the same for me, and we have to go away and find out as much as we can about that plant, and then report back the following week on what we find out about it, so that we all become a little bit more familiar on different plants. So thank you very much for joining us in the video. We've got our new rose cuttings, so we'll go and put those somewhere and hope that in the future they'll be joining all the other plants in the border. Join us next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.